Greetings, hello kind friends and companions, it is me, HARKNESS once again. And today I'm gonna be doing, it's not gonna be as edit-centric as possible because I just wanna get my thoughts out there. Today I'm gonna be talking about my AKS74U, more specifically, after playing with this gun for almost a good year, how do I feel about this AK? Would I still recommend E&L AKs despite after using it for some time? Just to preface, or just to give you some background, I bought this almost a year ago, and this has seen a lot of combat. I've almost brought this gun every Sunday, but when the pandemic happened, I had to store my gun for quite some time. So it was incubating in my room for a while, but only 5 weeks ago did I finally decide to revive my love for airsoft. I managed to get my brother back into it, and so far we're really re-enjoying the sport here again. Fell in love with airsoft all over again. So okay, enough about the background. Let us now talk about the E&L AKS74U. What are the things that I have changed my mind about 1 year later? Okay. Here's the first thing I have to say about the E&L AKS74U. Its bluing is absolutely gorgeous. And not only that, it's starting to wear like a real gun. Back then the gun is really black, but now it's starting to show a little bit of its metal, just like in a real AK. Many pictures of AKs that have been used for quite some time are starting to take more of a metallic look. Now, as cool as the bluing is, I have a feeling that in the factory of E&L, they put a really horrible type of bluing. Why is that? Because this thing has a tendency to rust like absolute hell. This thing loves to rust. There is rust that loves to develop here. I thought it was just my AK. I thought I just got a lemon, but no. I met someone in the airsoft field most recently, a viewer of mine. Shout out to you. I think you know who you are exactly. He showed me my AK. He showed me his AK, AKS74U. He bought the exact same gun as me, and it was rusted to absolute hell. There was a lot of rust developing here, and here. I asked him, how is it possible? Have you tried cleaning your gun? And then he revealed to me that he was using a metal sponge, to which in my horror I was like, no, you don't do that because you will strip away the bluing. Okay, so if you do plan on getting an E&L, please keep in mind that this thing rusts like absolute hell. Other people in the comments have pointed that out, and I absolutely have to agree with them about that. If you plan on cleaning the externals of this gun, get yourself a real AK cleaning kit. That will help you a lot. I'm serious. The brass scrubber that goes with that thing is very, very useful. It will scrub away the rust without damaging the bluing. I'm thinking about reapplying the bluing here. Okay, you might be asking, if it rusts like hell, what sort of cleaning do I use? You could use cleaning materials do I use? Aside from the AK cleaning kit that I mentioned earlier, you should try using gun oil, actual gun oil. I use Hops gun oil and it works perfectly fine. The thing I love about the Hops gun oil is that when you do clean it out, it comes with 3 stages. There is the de-rusting, I forgot the second stage, and the third stage is like a protection layer. After I oil up the gun, remove all the rust, I add that extra protection layer which protects it from rusting in room temperature. And when I store this gun, I actually put the do not eat silica gel packets on its packaging to prevent it from oxidizing, because when oxygen comes in contact with metal, it starts to rust. Okay, so that is the external build. Super happy with the externals. Oh, and I almost forgot. Do not use this gun on a 1-point sling. I trust the sling of this gun, but I feel like a 1-point sling will add way too much stress. My viewer showed me what exactly could happen. He actually broke the rear sling mount. Thus, he's unable to use 2 points. So don't use a 1-point sling. But the sling of this gun is absolutely durable. I still stand by it. Any upgrades on this gun? Alright. if there's one thing that I've learned about LCT and ENL is that their motors, their barrels, and their hop-ups are absolutely horrible. ENL hop-ups are horrible. I tried replacing it with a Lonnex hop-up, but oh my gosh, it is really hard to get in. I had to sand it down, but what happened was the response time of the weapon wasn't correct. I'm gonna flash a video to see what I'm talking about. You could actually see it double feeding, so that's an issue, and I decided to just let go of the Lonnex.
Got one! Oh! I'm out!
Hey guys, this is Daniel. 1 hour after making that video, I just remembered a flaw within the ENL. Okay, I think this is a problem inside the ENL gearbox or motor. Unfortunately, I do not have footage of this happening, but the viewer of mine made me remember about this issue. Basically, if you're using an ENL AK series and then you're firing in semi-automatic, for some reason, it sounds like your battery is dying despite you charging it a few minutes earlier. I remember in one game, I was shooting a semi-automatic in the CQB area. I was like, huh, that's funky. How come it sounds like it's dying? So I had to put the gun on safe, wait for a few seconds, and voila, it started to work normally. It started to sound beefier now. I have no idea what causes that, but ever since I've changed the motor, I'm not sure if it's a gearbox or a motor issue, but ever since I've changed out the motor, that problem seemed to have disappeared for the most part. So keep that in mind if you're ever going to use an ENL AK. Is there anything else I can remember about the problems with ENLs? Nothing much. Okay, back to you, Daniel, from 30 minutes earlier. Speaking of disassembly, ENLs love their proprietary parts. Because of that, I am unable to put that much modification into the pop-ups. That's because of this mag spacer. This mag spacer is very, very annoying. LCTs take 15 minutes to disassemble. This somehow took 1 hour and 30 minutes and me and my brother almost had a stroke trying to disassemble this thing. You'd think that an AK is very easy to disassemble, but dear Lord, is this thing hard to modify. I did add a high torque motor into this thing and it's working wonderfully. I really recommend you add a high torque motor. Speaking of which, I also modified my ENL AKS74U to accept a Warfet chip, which will improve the longevity of this rifle. Although I will put a Titan battery here in the future so that it would perform absolutely perfectly and much better. So anyways, that is my quick thoughts on the ENL AKS74U 1 year later. You may be asking yourself, well, do I still recommend this gun? To that I have to say, I think, personally, if you plan to just run a normal wooden AK setup, and you don't want to think too much about replacing anything, by all means, go ahead, get yourself an ENL. However, if you like upgrading your guns like me, I think it's much better if you just grab yourself an LCT. If I were to rate this gun right now, I wouldn't rate it a 10 out of 10 like before. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10 because of the aforementioned rusting issue. If you clean your guns on almost a weekly basis, that's not much of an issue, but it's mostly because of upgrades. Because if something goes wrong on this gun, you might have to pay a very, very exorbitant price. So yeah, think twice about getting an ENL. It's still a great gun, but Now that I presented you these flaws, you could now somewhat make a more informed decision. I do not regret buying this gun. I don't plan on doing that much to it. So anyways, this has been me, HARKNESS. Thank you so much for sitting through this very short update video. And as always, life is always good. Make the best out of it. Until next time.